Roscoe.
DBag.
How you doing, Roscoe?
Oh, kappa.
Welcome, everybody, to Ballers to Balding, where, as always, we're going to have some strong opinions and some weak follicles. And if you enjoy the show, please like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram and Spotify. It really helps two aging men pretend like they're still part of the culture. It's a public service. How you doing, Roscoe?
Oh, Cap, tough week.
I know you were sick.
I was really sick this week. Have you ever had the flu? Like, you hear about the flu, but have you ever actually had the flu where you always get shots and stuff? It is a killer, man. I always thought it was
this year.
Yeah, I always thought it was kind of overrated. Like, what's the big deal? I don't need a shot. I don't want to get it. But I got to tell you, remember the movie E.T.? Remember when E.T. is in the bathtub waiting for his heart light to go on?
Yes.
I feel worse than E.T. felt.
Yeah.
I feel so bad. I mean, it was just a freaking kill. You can hear it in my voice and in my chest. And here's the other problem with it. I don't know if you have this with your wife, but once I have any kind of illness whatsoever, I'm immediately kicked out of the bedroom. Okay? It just always seems a little convenient to me. Oh, sniffle, you're out. Get in the other bedroom. And then when she asked me if I'm feeling better day to day, I must feel a sense of disappointment if I'm like, yeah, I actually feel a little bit better. So anyway, I'm a little injured today, but just like Jason Tatum,
man, you gotta stay healthy.
I'm gonna do it. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go, and I'm excited. So excuse
I gotta
my
tell
voice.
you, you gotta stay healthy. You got a lot to live for. I mean, our podcast is just starting to alienate our friends and family.
Yep. It is.
All right. Well, let's get to it then, because we don't have much time before you keel over. We'll start with Douchebag of the Week.
Okay.
Why don't you take it first, because my douchebag is over the top, and it might be tough to go after mine today.
So even though I'm a little under the weather, I love my pick this week because I feel like this douchebag has been coming and coming. And the reason it is, this is a guy who is beloved in Boston. Beloved. Yet, he's like that old girlfriend who keeps posting pictures of herself with her new boyfriend. And that is Thomas Brady. Okay? Tom Brady is my douchebag of the week. That's right. The GOAT. Handsome, charismatic, and I don't know if you've seen him recently, but he's cool enough where he's now consistently wearing those Hunter Thompson glasses. You know, the thing. Yeah, I mean, it's so weak. And what did Tom do that made him a douchebag? Well, last week, as you probably know, the Raiders, which is a team for which Tom has a minority interest, actually traded their superstar pass rusher, Max Crosby, to the Ravens. And it was a really big deal. Well, after the trade, there was an article in The Athletic in which it was noted the fact that the Patriots were actually in on the trade for Crosby, which would have really helped their team. But former Patriot Tom Brady nixed any deal that would send Crosby to the Patriots or to Mike Vrabel. He just said, I'm not doing it. So, notwithstanding the fact that the guy's got a statue in front of the Gillette, and basically the entire fan base of Boston genuflects anytime his name is mentioned, he nixed and submarined any trade that would make the Patriots better. And you could say, well, he just doesn't want to make the Patriots really good. Okay, but this is another step in a long line of Tom screwing the Pats and his fans. For example, remember his first retirement from Tampa Bay? He barely acknowledged the Patriots or the Patriots fans. Last year's Super Bowl, he said he didn't have a dog in the fight. This is the Pats fans' worst nightmare. Their lover doesn't love them back. And that is because he is a douche. Tom Douche Brady. Douche move, weak moves. This week.
All right. Yeah. It's a valid point, even though I love him. It's a good douchebag. Good douchebag. Mine, I think, though, is my douchebag is an instant classic. This is a first ballot Hall of Fame douchebag. Kevin Mays, an assistant coach for the Cal State basketball men's team, has been charged with running a multi-state pimping operation on the side. Now, normally when you hear college basketball assistant coach, you picture a guy analyzing tape, calling high school recruits, maybe organizing team dinners. Apparently, Kevin Mays looked at the job description and thought, yeah, I can do all that and still have time for human trafficking as a side hustle. No pun intended. Now, I will say in his defense, there's not a lot of defense, but it probably is a lot more lucrative than driving DoorDash after practice. But wait, there's more. Apparently, the charges don't stop at pimping. Authorities say that Mays also facing counts involving drugs, automatic firearms, and a bunch of other stuff that makes the typical college basketball scandal, like, slipping a recruit a free burrito, look pretty goddamn adorable compared to what he did. And you got to think, when May told recruits he teach them life skills off the court, nobody had any idea how far he was going to take it. And I'm sure the team parties were fun and the girls were effective as in-house recruit visits. But I feel like someone should have gotten suspicious when the team rolled up in a Cadillac party bus with a stripper pole. But seriously, on a serious note, the whole thing, blew up the entire athletic department. Head coach fired, athletic director gone, programs in chaos, and all because some assistant coach decided to manage his hoes across state lines using automatic weapons and drugs to keep those bitches in line. Not something you hear every day from a assistant college basketball coach. So congratulations, Kevin Mays, assistant basketball coach by day, interstate pimp by night, and to top it all off, my douchebag of the week.
Now, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
Let's say that your son was being recruited by this gentleman. And I'm going to have you create a hypothetical. Assume there's no drugs and guns involved. Would it bother you?
Yeah, I think so. You want your son involved in a guy who's interstate pimping? I mean, he was a pimp across state lines. He had a whole racket going on.
I guess.
I think it would probably bother me, unless my son was getting playing time. It depends how many minutes he was getting, If he was getting minutes, if Mays was like pushing for him to get minutes, I'd be like, yeah, he's done some things. Everyone who doesn't have a skeleton in the closet.
It's just hard. It's hard when your son is getting action to like try and be upset about it. It's like counter to everything I believe in.
This one is a little over the top, Ross.
Yeah, you're probably right.
You got to say it's a little over the top. He's responsible for young men's futures, and I guess young women's futures too, but just in a very different way. Okay. There was something big happened this week, and that is that Jason Tatum returned, man.
Huge thing. And I want to harken back to our comments about this a few episodes ago. What a great thing it was. You're talking about March game. You're still 23, 24 games away from the playoffs, so it's kind of the sort of the dark days of the NBA. Who cares? People kind of know where they are in their playoff season, kind of. But then all of a sudden, this great story comes in, especially for Boston fans, and that is the return of a top player to a team that's already playing very well against second place in the East. And it was just such a great event. I watched the game, and again, it's a game against the Mavericks, who are going nowhere. But what an exciting game. What an exciting thing to see him. And it was just such a feel-good story, because as much as you may like or dislike athletes, you don't want to see them in situations where their careers may be over, unless it's Brady. And the fact or any other Patriot. But the fact of the matter is, it's just, you like to see that for a guy who worked his tail off to get back. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. And the other thing is, if you actually watch the game, he's now played a couple games and still too early to tell. And clearly he's not at full strength. But I got to tell you, if you look at him out there, it's what we talked about. He's a big body. He's a good rebounder. He's a good He's a good defensive player. He
Yeah.
can't. He's not up to where he was, but he's got a month to come back. And again, he adds an element offensively that they just don't have. I mean, if Jaylen Brown is not scoring, it puts a tremendous amount of pressure on Derek White and Peyton Pritchard, who I think are great players, but they're really role players. And now you throw Tatum in, who even after 2 games looks like he can still kind of create his own offense. I mean, he had 16 points and 20 points after 10 months.
And
I mean,
how many rebounds in his? He almost had a triple-double his
yeah,
first game
his
back.
first game, right.
Crazy.
So there you
I'm going
go.
to tell you, a couple weeks ago we did talk about, I don't know if you remember.
Of course I do.
And I said that he shouldn't come back this season, that he won't be 100% and protect the future, be cautious, don't rush it, blah, blah. And I just have to say, what a complete idiot I was. That might be like the worst sports take ever. I want to tell you that I literally almost made myself the douchebag of the week. I was really thinking about my douchebag. But what happened was a college basketball coach who's running a multi-state pimping operation. That's like a once in a generation level douchebag. It's hard to top it, but I would have. And, being that wrong about Tatum, it really made me feel kind of like a real sports analyst, because if there's one thing that professional sports analysts are unbelievably good at, in my opinion, it's being incredibly wrong all the time. I want to point out, have you ever noticed, like during the football season, they'll bring out these experts and they'll have like the telestrators and they'll have like all their league sources, and then they show their picks for the previous week. And it's like they're 6-10. And they're like, well, I got to be better this week. And you're like, wait a minute. You're a professional analyst and you're right less than 50% of the time. Why should I listen to you about anything? It's like literally one of the only jobs where you can be consistently wrong and it has zero effect on your career. Other professions aren't like that. I was actually thinking, like, can you imagine you go to the doctor and he sits you down. He's like, listen, I hate to tell you this. You got cancer. And you go home and your kids are devastated and your wife's reconnecting with old boyfriends just to have something lined up, some options in place. And you go through the chemo and the radiation, the whole nightmare. And you come back a month later, you stagger into the office. You lost 20 pounds and you've lost all your hair. And the doctor's like, you know what? I was wrong. It was just a bad cold. It would take 12 nurses to pull you off this guy before you choked him out. But for sportscasters, it's like, no big deal. No one even notices that they're wrong. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And so for me, being that wrong about Tatum, I'm trying to spin it into saying, like, you know what? It's actually progress. I'm actually finally achieving some kind of professional standard doing this.
That you're wrong? That you were just wrong?
I'm so wrong. I'm so aggressively wrong. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, let me just give you a little bit of love. You're not the only person who said that maybe Tatum shouldn't.
They were wrong too.
Yeah,
it was so exciting. It's such a great sports, and sports is entertainment. It's drama, and that's what this is. It's great. It's fun. It's fun to watch them now.
But you are just so right about analysts making stupid calls. I will tell you, now that I don't do anything for most of the day except for prepare for this podcast, I watch a lot of analysts and I watch a lot of takes. And I'll tell you, the guy who's unbelievable. He's so bad. This is like, these takes are like the worst takes you get. It's like they're the worst since Lincoln said to Mary Todd, "Yeah, I'll go to the play." It's just these
sounds like a good show.
These are so bad, and they're so bad. Are you ready? Who it is? You know who it is?
Yeah.
Perkins, no. Kendrick Perkins.
Oh my God! Yes.
Oh my God, Cappy, he's so bad. He's so horrible. And I loved Perk when he was a player, and I actually liked him when he was an analyst, doing the games. And he would talk. He has a Southern accent, and he had a lot of fun, like little statements, like he took his cookies and all things like that. I really liked him, but he obviously, and by the way, I got to hand it to him. He's become popular. He's made a career out of it, but he comes up with the most ludicrous takes. He was actually the one guy, and it's not that easy to find guys, the analysts who make bad takes, because to go to your point, everyone just forgets it. But
right.
His are so monumentally stupid. He actually was the one guy that said after the Doncic trade, Nico Harris and the Doncic trade, I think Dallas won the trade. He said it. He said because he thought that Anthony Davis was great defensively, etc. Okay, that's one. He also remember he had gotten in trouble with the Celtic organization because he said Mazzulla was a horrible coach. Now, I had my questions about Mazzulla, but Mazzulla's a phenomenal coach. Okay, but what did Kendrick say? If you put Mazzulla's brain in a bird, it would fly backwards. Okay, I mean, and then he just said, I saw 2 days ago, he compared Wembanyama to himself.
Oh, well, that's bad take. That's a delusional take too.
It's just he has the worst takes, and it's so bad. As I said, I don't even watch that show anymore because when he comes on, I'm like, I'm not taking it seriously because he's just saying stupid things to get clicks.
Do you remember? I'm going way back. But do you remember we were young in Chicago? We were in college when Jordan was playing, and Bulls kept losing to the Pistons. And there was this writer for the Bulls. I wish I remembered his name, but I still remember it. And he was like, "They're never going to win with Jordan's style of offense because the offense revolves too much around him." He made this big deal out of it. I mean, it's unbelievable when you think about it. You're watching Jordan in his prime, and what's your take? I think the problem is there's too much Michael Jordan. It's like, come on, man. I'm 30 years and I remember that bad take.
It's awful.
But I'm sure that guy went on to have a great career and blah, blah, blah. The people, how many, Tom Brady was going to fall off the cliff every year for a decade, right?
Max Kellerman.
Yeah. It doesn't affect them. Anyway, so I feel like in some ways my lack of insight is a sign of my talent.
You know what? You deserve a raise.
Yeah.
You deserve a raise.
I could get twice as much as I'm making or half as much and it won't make a difference.
But you are correct. That was a bad take. But again, I don't think you should feel that badly because a lot of people had.
You know what? I would feel worse if I had made that take and I just got caught pimping interstate. But given that I didn't and I'm not, I don't feel quite as bad. We can touch on the Red Sox. We keep saying we're doing it. They got their season starting. The big question is, are they going to be any good this year? The last few years, I felt like they were the guy who was really in great shape in college. And then the last few years, he's like, I'm going to get in the gym and work out and be in great shape. And you're like, yeah, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. They're not. Every year it's like, oh, they could be good. This year you're hearing it. What do you think?
Well, okay. So I would have been very excited about him if they had signed Bregman. Losing Bregman was a big, big hit. And it was just such a typical Red Sox thing. Why is it with the Red Sox that there's always some issue that makes the whole team organization look bad, like the Devers thing? They always just look so bad. And I thought we were past that with, with 4 World Series. But I just feel like we're kind of sliding back into the negativity. Like John Henry doesn't spend enough money on the team. He looks like a rooster. And it's just, but it's just that said, there is some reason for excitement. I'm concerned that they don't have enough power, but they have pretty good pitching this year. Their starting rotation is Crochet, who is not handsome, not a handsome man. Bad hair, but a tremendous pitcher. God, is he good. So Crochet, I worry about his health, but he's fantastic. They have Bayo, and Bayo, Jess, you ready for this? Bayo is pitching for the DR on the WBC, in the WBC. He just pitched 1-run game against, you ready for this? Israel. Who would have ever thought we'd hear that?
Right.
He pitched one-run game against Israel.
Incredible.
They also picked up Suarez as a free agent this year. He's a nice arm. Sonny Gray is a consistent arm. And they have Oviedo, and they also have a setup guy in Whitlock. And then they have Chapman, who's shut down. Now, a guy who likes to, who's had some problems in the past with women, but and he's also 430 years old. But he's a tremendous player. So, bottom line is,
maybe they hire Mays as an assistant, and he'll get the women for him. He's available.
Right.
Mays is available.
Right. I just look at them. I just named their starting rotation, their setup man, their closer. If those guys all stay healthy, they're going to be competitive this year. I mean, competitive. They're going for a wild card. I don't think they'll win the division, but the wild card.
So hard to tell with baseball because a couple guys can have a career year. I mean, the last few years, the Red Sox kind of felt to me like the team was run by a fantasy owner who didn't really pay attention to the roster for a few months. I felt like every time I put it on, there was a reliever coming out of the bullpen that I'd never heard of, with a huge ERA.
Good.
But there is suddenly hope again. And besides the improved pitching, I think a lot of the hope revolves around Roman Anthony, who's look, I mean, he was unbelievable. For people who don't know, he was the #1 prospect last year. Came in, basically for half the season, hit close to 300, getting on base like crazy, spraying doubles all over Fenway. And then he got hurt. So I think if the Red Sox actually are going to be good this year, he's got to play 162 games because right now, Red Sox fans are talking about him. They're talking like he's the holy trinity of Ted Williams and David Ortiz and whoever invented the Duncan Munchkin. I mean, they're already making him like the superstar, which is very Boston. It's a very Boston thing. The second a young player starts to look good for a few weeks, everyone's all in. I always go back to Mac Jones.
I was just gonna say.
After a rookie, people were already penciling in the next decade of Super Bowls after Mac Jones. It's the Tom Brady effect. You get this generational player, and now everyone thinks the young guy is going to be that. But honestly,
it's a good point.
I mean, right? I mean, it's like, but honestly, I get it. I mean, I get why people actually Roman Anthony. It's like a religious fervor, and I was saying I get why they have a religious fervor for him because his name sounds religious. Roman Anthony sounds more like a patron saint of home runs than a baseball player. But hey, he is great, and if he can put a full season together, they might. I think he really is kind of the key because when he came in last year, he was a catalyst. And if he becomes a superstar and their pitching holds up, I think they got a chance to be really good. And 6 months in, some guy in Southie will name his new baby Roman, and then it'll just start a trend, and there'll be a whole generation of Romans all over New England. That's how they'll know.
They really need Abreu to be good, and Contreras. They really they're depending on a lot of guys, and they're young. They're excited, although their pitching's not that young, but look. They're competitive. That's fun in Boston. Do you think Boston's a Red Sox town or a Patriots town?
I think that Boston was a Red Sox town. I mean, baseball obviously has lost a lot of juice, and it's become very regional too, which the NFL isn't. The NFL, because of fantasy leagues and also because of the game, you're interested in watching games if it's not your team. If it's a great game, you'll watch it. No one cares about the Dodgers outside of L.A. No one cares about the Red Sox. I mean, New England, I guess. So is it a Red Sox town? Not really anymore. But the thing about the Red Sox is Fenway, it kind of reminds me of Wrigley when we used to go to Wrigley when the Cubs sucked. And it was like, I always say, I've been to more Cubs games than any other sporting event. I don't remember one play. You sit in the bleachers, you drink, you cheer. By the 5th inning, they're down 4-1. Then you leave, you go to a bar. I mean, the Cubs never had to be good because they made a ton of money when they weren't good. And it's the same with the Red Sox. The Red Sox, if they had never won a World Series, I mean, they had that curse for all those years. They've had 4 World Series in the last 20 years or 25 years. It's like, that's a lot of World Series. So I think a little bit of the pressure is off, but it's starting to build again. We'll see. Fenway's such a fun day. It doesn't matter. So I think that there are very diehard Red Sox fans, and I think their fan base is as passionate as anyone's. I mean, I was diehard when I was younger.
Absolutely. When we were younger, that's what you did.
The Red Sox.
That's all you cared about. Celtics.
Well, listen, it went by quick today. We're done.
It did.
It went by very fast. You made it. It was good to see you. I'm glad you're on the mend.
I need to be.
We'll have some fun stuff to discuss next week. We'll maybe talk about the WBC. We'll maybe get into the Bruins a little bit. And, of course, some giant douchebags. It's going to be tough to top this week, but
I have a locksmith coming into my house to try and get into at least my bedroom.
Oh, I hope you make it back into your own bed. That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Are you sure if she's even in the house?
I'm not sure. Actually, I don't know. All right, big bye.
All right, man. It was great.
All right.
See you next week, Roscoe. Be well.
Love you, buddy. Bye-bye.
Love you too. Take care.